This is video 4.6, arithmetic sequences. We are going to recognize and extend an arithmetic sequence and find a given term of an arithmetic sequence. A sequence is a list of numbers that often forms a pattern. It doesn't mean it has to form a pattern, but we see that it often does. So for example, if I were to give you a sequence like 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, so on and so on and so on, hopefully you would notice that this is a pattern of squares. 1 squared, 2 squared, 3 squared, 4 squared, 5 squared, 6 squared, so on and so on. Each number in a sequence is a term. So referencing the above sequence, your third term is 9, because that is the third number in the sequence. When the terms of a sequence differ by the same non-zero number, the sequence is an arithmetic sequence. So for example, if I have 0, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, so on and so on and so on, you notice that each time the difference is positive 3. The common difference is that number that it's differing by. So if I'm referencing the above sequence, my common difference, or D is the variable used for this, my common difference would be 3 plus 3. Now if it's decreasing by a number each time, you would have to put a negative number there, like a negative 3 if it were going down by 3 each time. To find a term in an arithmetic sequence, you're going to use this formula. So n is the term that you want to find, the nth term, and you're going to take the number of that, n minus 1, and then plus your common difference. So for example, we'll use that formula here in a minute, and I'll kind of explain it a little bit more. It says, identifying arithmetic sequences, determine whether each sequence appears to be arithmetic. If so, find the common difference in the next three terms. So here, what I'm looking at is this going up or down by a certain number each time? And it looks like we're adding a half each time. So if I want to find the next term, I'm going to take my previous term, or n minus 1, the previous term, and add the common difference. So if my common difference is 1/2, I'm going to do 3/4 plus 1/2. And then this term plus 1/2. Or plus 2/4 is how I'm doing it in my head, and then plus 1/2. It says find the next three terms, and then it says to identify the common difference, and we determined that that is 1/2, because you're adding 1/2 each time. Alright, so looking at example B, we have -4, -2, 1, and then 5, so we want to see if it's a common difference, or an arithmetic sequence, in other words. Looks like we're adding 2, we're adding 3, we're adding 4. So there's a definite pattern that I'm seeing. It is a sequence because there is a pattern. You add 2, you add 3, you add 4, the next would be add 5, add 6, add 7. But I am going to say that this is not an arithmetic sequence because you're not adding the same number each time. Up here we were adding 1/2 each time, and that's what made it arithmetic. So all we have to do is say no, because it says if it is, that's when we find the next three terms. If it's not, we do not have to find the next three terms. Alright, letter C. It looks like I'm adding 4, adding 4, adding 4. So I'm going to say yes, and then it would be 25, 29, and 33. My common difference is a positive 4. Letter D. Looks like I am minusing 2, minus 3, minus 4. Okay, this time we're not subtracting by the same number each time, so it's just a no. Alright, so this is where we have to use the formula to find our nth term. We're given a sequence, and it starts with 11, and then 5, -1, -7, and we want to find the 60th term. Now, because this is arithmetic, it means it goes, it decreases or increases by the same number each time. In this case, it's going down by 6 each time. So we can use this formula here. And the formula says to find our nth term, we take our first term. I'm going to write this formula here so we can see how we're plugging stuff in. Okay, so to find this formula, we take our A1, or our first term, we add the n, the term we're trying to find, -1, and the common difference would be a -6. because it's going down by 6 each time. So I don't put minus 6, I'm multiplying by negative 6. That's the key. So then you have 11 plus 59 times a negative 6. Again, you're multiplying, you are not subtracting. Don't get that confused just because it's a negative. And then if I go ahead and multiply 59 times negative 6 and add the 11, I get negative 343. And that would be my 60th term without having to actually write out 60 numbers. All right, let's use that again. And I'm going to write that over here. We have our first term plus the term we're trying to find minus 1 times our common difference. So it says right here, my first term is 4.2. So this time it's just giving me the information instead of showing me the sequence, and that's okay. The term I'm trying to find, minus 1 times my common difference. And depending on how good your calculator is, you might just be able to plug this whole thing into it, and I'll tell you what you should get. I'm getting 19.6 as the 12th term. Alright, so letter C. At this time, if you want to go ahead and pause the video, you're more than welcome to try this on your own. Take my first term plus the term I'm trying to find minus 1, and my common difference looks like it's a positive 4. And I'm getting 64. And finally, letter D, my first term plus the term I'm trying to find, minus 1 times negative 2. I'm getting negative 53. Alright, we are ready for example 3. It says that each time a truck stops, it drops off 250 pounds of cargo. After stop 1, its cargo weighed 2,000 pounds. How much does the load weigh after stop 6? So we're going to start with our first term, 2,000 pounds, and we're going to add the term we're trying to find and the difference of 1 times negative 250, because it's dropping off 250 pounds each time. So let's go ahead and do that calculation. And I am getting 750 pounds would be how much it weighs. Alright, a bag of cat food weighs 18 pounds at the beginning of day 1. Each day the cats are fed half of a pound of food. How much does the bag of cat food weigh at the beginning of day 30? So let's see, a bag of cat food weighs 18 pounds, where we start. We want to know after 30 days. Now let's look at this as the beginning of day 1. This was after stop 1, which is where we should start, after stop 1. So we should start, let's see, after day 1 would be, let's see, common difference is 0.5. 30 minus 1, I'm trying to think if that 18 is where we start, if we got to start half a pound lower than that. And I'm thinking that because here we took our starting value after stop 1, here we should take our starting value after day 1. So beginning of day was 18, so after day 1 it would be here. And that would be our first term. That makes more sense. Okay, and then this, actually, they're feeding the cat, so it's disappearing at a rate of half of a pound a day. So make sure you get that negative sign in there. Alright, let's go ahead and calculate that. Minus 1, negative 0.5. I'm getting 3 pounds. So after 30 days, they have 3 pounds left. Alright, that is the conclusion of video 4.6 arithmetic sequences. This is due Friday, November 1st. Thanks.